Gojira! 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 Gojira!
Ah, Gojira.
Attention, citizens! Gojira! 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 Oh, Gojira! Gojira!
That's a big pile of fish.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But we saw Godzilla, the king of the monsters.
No. You're saying it wrong. You mean Dynamix Primal Groudon, king of the pocket monsters.
I'm not going to go with you on that.
I am.
Well, I'm not. But yeah, this is technically Godzilla 2 in this universe.
But it's the third movie in the in this franchise because the second one was Kong Skull Island.
And this one's a hell of a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, Lynn Carter really liked Kong Skull Island. I'm like, okay, whatever suits you. But we found it dragged way too much. It had like 3 good scenes and the rest of it was just, check your watch kind of thing.
This was a lot better.
Yeah.
It actually created an interesting story and characters that had depth.
And it had what Kong Skull Island lacked, which was pacing that kept the movie going, and it did not drag at any point.
And it built up the monster fights, like it built them up in scale and in terms of...
and they switched between the human characters and the monsters, and they had the human characters always close to or interacting with the monsters in some way. So and involved, not just being like, wandering through a jungle for hours and, occasionally they'll get picked off by something.
No. There were very few main character deaths. There were only like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And they all actually played a role in progressing the story.
Well, except maybe 1.
Yeah. But we have to start at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it starts with Mothra.
Yeah.
Basically. Well, it actually starts back at the first Godzilla movie. With the main characters, the main family of the Godzilla movie was Mark, Emma, and their daughter.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Their daughter, I can't, Maria or something. I can't remember. Her name.
Yeah, we're bad at remembering names.
But the story revolves around them basically with the fallout from that movie.
So and they kind of Batman versus Superman it. A little bit.
Because this takes place basically in current time.
Martha! No, there's no Martha.
No. Maria or something. I can't remember.
No, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But
why did you say that name?
This takes place in current time, so in 2019, 5 years after the Godzilla, where throughout the movie we find out the 3 of them had gone their separate ways due to what had happened. They lost their other child.
Yeah.
Where Mark went into alcohol and tried to forget, and Emma, she decided, I'm going to protect the world. And
from devastation and unite all peoples within our nation.
Kind of. That works, but...
Because Dynamix Primal Groudon, the movie, king of pocket monsters.
But it's like, they barely
I'm just going to milk the hell out of that.
I know you are, and I'm going to ignore it. But... The family, it revolves around them, like, their issues. Like, their family issues of...
Most monster and disaster movies do. Just look at any Roland Emmerich movie. If you think about it, really.
But, yeah.
All it was lacking was Jeff Goldblum.
But then we have to start with the monsters, which is Mothra hatching.
Yeah, and into larva.
Oh yeah, they have
or should I say
a larval state?
Or no. Or should I say Dynamix Caterpie?
But they also have a subplot of basically a company created in the 5 years to track all these
called Monarch.
Monarch, but the government wants control of Monarch.
Because they want to exterminate the monsters, because, government.
Yes, because I'm the government, I'm the reason nothing works.
But at least in this case, in most, disaster movies and monster movies, the government is just plain stupid. Whereas in this case, you understand their point of view, because we literally saw in the beginning of the movie the fallout of the first Godzilla movie, where San Francisco was completely destroyed. And thousands, if not millions, dead. So I can understand. It's understandable their point of view. They want to stop this threat before more people get killed.
Yes.
in the crossfire. That's understandable. But
And-
you can also understand the protagonist's perspective that, well, you know, the science shows that these creatures are part of the world's natural order,
Yeah.
and if we don't, you know, respect them, we're gonna mess up the planet worse than them.
Yeah. And like they weren't even shown much, the government. It was one meeting to kind of push the story along.
And to shoot a missile.
Yeah. And we got a couple character tropes. We got like the awkward nerdy guy who's like kind of like didn't
Who's us.
Yes, who's kind of like
He's the us you know, insert. The
I love his lines in the core unit. Like, I'm gonna play this movie to show you the Titans' reproductive system. I hope this is the one where they blurt out the generals. If it isn't, you can talk about it to each other. It's like,
oh yeah, there's more than one nerdy guy. There's also a nerdy guy with white hair.
yeah, who's obsessed with like
the under earth tunnel
yes,
system.
on how Godzilla's traveling, basically.
Yeah.
On how they have a hard time tracking him, like because even the movie said, "Oh, we have a hard time tracking Godzilla." They're like, "Well, unless you know where he goes." Basically, like you're searching the wrong area because you can't find Godzilla. Like he has a specific path.
You don't have the right Pokemon Go app.
Damn it. So we have to. So like, I'm trying to think of where that is. We also have the Japanese doctor, who I keep screwing up his name because he's like I heard it once.
He's the police chief from.
Oh yeah,
Ryan
he
City.
is. Oh yeah. I didn't pay attention to that.
He was also the business tycoon from Inception.
Mm. But he's there because he believes in letting the Titans take care of
Fix the things, you know. Well, that some of the Titans are good and some of them are hostile, and we need to know the difference and which ones to
trust,
to help, and which ones to fight.
And he constantly believes in Godzilla because throwback to Godzilla's origins, and thankfully he's not played off for stereotypes.
Well, this is 2019.
I know.
They wouldn't be able to get away with that.
Yeah.
There would be such a backlash.
And we also have a Chinese scientist, I think your last name is Chen or something, who's more based off the spiritual aspects of like the ancestry of the Titans. That's her focus.
And her favorite is Mothra.
Yeah. Because she's like a third generation of Monsanto. I almost said Monsanto. Monarch. Sure.
Which, I mean, I don't know a lot about the Godzilla and Mothra mythos and stuff, but I do know that through most of the previous Mothra series of stuff, there were these female twins that would always follow Mothra around.
Oh yeah.
They didn't do that in this movie, but I'm wondering
I think they hint. That was their idea. Was hinting at with
that. But there was only one of her.
Yeah, but
maybe they were just kind of doing a variation on it.
Yeah, because of her ancestors have been, she's the third generation, so her mother and grandmother. She even showed a picture of her family, and they all look very similar.
Yeah.
So that could be the idea.
Joy syndrome.
A little bit. And Mark's role in this is.
Oh, hi, Mark.
In a way, he just wants to protect his daughter, and they're kind of forcing him back into it because he.
And yeah, basically at the start of the movie, he is very much just like, this thing killed my son. I want it dead.
But
I want them all dead.
But he, even throughout the movie, he understands that's not the best point of view to have, and like he understands he has to work with them instead of just.
Well, that's his character arc.
Yeah, that's his character arc.
Well, the first reason why he holds off is because. We don't have enough firepower.
Yeah, he literally said, if you don't think you can win this, back down. And Godzilla respects him. Like, they have a literal face-to-face.
Yeah.
And he even understands their behavior, because he's studied them with his ex-wife, because they're exes. They mentioned that in the movie.
Yeah, because that's kind of a trope most disaster movies have. Some handle it well, some not. This one handled it pretty well.
Yeah. because they were separated because of their both, as we talked about, their response to what happened. He wanted to forget. She wanted to basically bring Alex back in a way.
Yeah, but not
like,
but not in the Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom way.
you know, she's doing what she thought he would want her to do. Their child would want her to do, but she gets it kind of twisted.
Yeah.
Like,
basically, we're gonna go into a little spoiler territory here.
Yeah.
She started going on the whole, nihilistic belief that humanity is a disease.
yes, and that's her.
And that the Titans, as they're called, are the cure, or as I'm going to continue to call them, Dynamix Pokemon.
That was her whole speech, basically. That was her goal.
Which, interestingly enough, in a lot of Pokemon movies have touched on.
And she worked with a eco-terrorist to accomplish her goal.
Yeah, but he's just blatantly evil.
Yeah, he wants to destroy stuff. I can't remember
his motivations were the same, but even more extreme.
Yeah, even to the point where she decided to prioritize saving her daughter over their goals.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've talked a lot about basically nothing so far. So we have to actually talk about what happened in the movie, not just the characters. So
yeah, basically,
she built a device, or she rebuilt a device.
It's called the Orca.
Yeah, the Orca, because it based off sound.
Yeah.
Because it was as they say, it was designed to track whales, but
because Star Trek IV: The Journey Home.
But she designed it to communicate with the Titans, basically, using different sound waves to communicate with them, and the whole story revolves around it, and
the MacGuffin machine.
Yeah, it's just a MacGuffin. How they use it to cooperate, like.
It can be used to attract the beast, to rile them up, or to calm them down.
Yeah. So the starting point is basically a fake out where she's doing this to protect her daughter from Mothra, who hatches into her larva state.
Yeah.
And goes a little bit crazy, because I guess.
Well, because she was surrounded by humans with taser guns.
So she just started killing them. Basically.
Well,
hurt them.
It wasn't made clear if any of them actually died from that. I mean, in reality, yeah, they wouldn't have been able to survive that. But this is a movie where, unless you actually see someone get shot or stabbed through the chest or crushed, they might not be dead.
Yeah. But she does have the Spider-Man powers.
Yeah.
She does spit webbing.
Or, no, it's string shot.
God damn it.
It is! It's string shot! It's what it is! So then, but then the eco-terrorist guy shows up and kills half the
soldiers working and the scientists. That's literally puts a bullet in.
Yeah. Because balance must be restored.
I like the shot of he puts a bullet in the guy who's the only other scientist there who's actually had any words.
Yeah.
And blows right through his head, right through the glass. But then they kidnap Emma and her daughter. I say kidnap.
Yeah.
Because that's not really what happens.
Yeah, which also makes me question, why did she just let him do that to one of her co-workers, an innocent person? That doesn't seem like she would be okay with that.
Maybe it wasn't her choice. Maybe. I don't know.
But we learned that, again, spoilers, she hired this guy.
Yes, but
she got in contact with this guy.
Yeah.
Why would she have been okay with him killing all
Because she's okay
people?
with the Titans wiping out much more people? Maybe she's a little bit.
Well, then I guess you could argue that as part of her character arc, at the start of the movie, she's a little bit insane.
A little bit. Her little rant about us being pollution kind of says that she's a little bit. She thinks this is for the good. She thinks she's a good.
Thanos. All she needs is an infinity gauntlet and purple scrotum chin.
as Deadpool says, it looked like he got hit by a slap chop.
In the face of a slap chop.
But so now we have to go to Godzilla, who's basically not done much since the movie. He's just swimming around.
He's just been Dynamix Primal Groudon, except in the ocean.
So we have to get to...
So Dynamix Primal Kyogre?
The bad guys, once they leave the...
Dynamix Primal Lugia?
They go from Mothra in Mexico to the Arctic, where they have...
No, Mothra wasn't in Mexico. Mothra was in China.
Oh, China, sorry. Rodan was in Mexico.
Or as I like to call him, Dynamix Aerodactyl.
So they go to the Antarctic, where it's basically Titan Zero, I think it was what they called it.
Yeah. I was frozen today!
So we don't have much time for that because we have to go back to the main heroes and their interaction with Godzilla underwater in the Bermuda Triangle. Because of course. Because when you have a base you want to hide, you go to the Bermuda Triangle.
And I'm guessing they were kind of implying that the whole reason why why things disappear in the Bermuda Triangle was because of Godzilla.
Maybe.
Because there's like literally a tunnel right under the Bermuda Triangle that leads into that underground system where Godzilla lives.
Right next to a source of radiation.
Yeah, which does, as much as, this movie is clearly fiction, that does kind of make sense because under the ground there is a lot of radioactive elements. Most of, the uranium and other radioactive elements we mine come from deep within the crust because they're heavy, and when the Earth was all molten, most of them sunk into the core.
Yeah. So with that out of the way, the good guys go to Antarctica to find the bad guys because they've got their signal. But then they threw out a...
But then, dun dun dun, she was working with them all
They're
along.
they're setting bombs to break the giant block of ice that they have Titan Zero in.
Yeah.
And they also need the Orca to bring it to life. It's alive! Yes. So they go through that, complicated with Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Okay, stop that. Yay, phone. But he sees her ignite the bomb on her own free will.
Yeah.
And he tries to get her and their daughter to come to him to leave with him. But the daughter couldn't bring herself to do it. And they use a trick a lot of canceling out the surrounding noise in moments like that.
Yeah.
They did that quite a bit with them.
Yeah.
Where it's
to focus on the emotional impact of the scene.
Where this moment of her going with her mother comes back in a way at the end of the movie in sort of symbolism, in a symbolic way. Mm-hmm. So now we get the first monster fight where Ghidorah awakens with good old 3 heads and massive wingspan that Kyle Hill debunked as
not being big enough.
Yeah, but
it
doesn't affect Ghidorah because it's an alien. It turns out to be an alien, so it doesn't have to apply by our laws of physics.
Well, actually, yes, it does, but because it's from another planet, unless it's from another dimension, then. But if that were the case, then it shouldn't be able to survive it. But this is,
Godzilla and Ghidorah fight. That's all that matters in this scene is that they fight and Ghidorah kicks Godzilla's ass.
Or as I would say it, Dynamix Hydreigon kicks Dynamix Primal Groudon's ass.
And in this we get the first death of one of the main characters, where another one of the female scientists on the crew. I couldn't really.
You had a few lines, and she's been in a few other movies.
She was in the in the government meeting.
Yeah.
For Monarch. Yeah. I couldn't really place her accent, but like I couldn't tell where she's from.
But she gets killed off screen.
Smashed. No, right on screen. His foot smashes right onto her.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
In camera. Like you don't see her body, but he just goes, and you see the Japanese.
Does an ant have a quarrel with a boot?
And you see the Japanese go, oh. It's like somehow it wasn't explained their connection, other than they work together, but like
they're friends.
Yeah.
What other connection do you need? They're friends.
Yeah, but nobody else really mourned her. He was the only one that they showed mourning her.
Well, they didn't have time to.
No, obviously they don't.
This is a fast-paced movie.
Yeah,
and he was kind of implied to be sort of the leader of this organization. So
like
it would make sense that he'd be the most concerned about his employees.
Yeah, considering he could tell everyone what to do. And he did, but
like he was their captain basically.
Yeah.
A captain should care for their crew.
And then I'm trying to remember. Ghidorah starts waking up the other monsters because, as the doctor said, there are 17 monsters or titans
and counting.
And counting. But yeah, there's 17, and Ghidorah starts waking them all up, including Rodan, who we get to see as the next place we go to in Mexico, where they're trying to evacuate all the people who live there.
And it literally climbs out of a volcano. And it's like nickname or like ancient mythological name was something like the Demon of Fire or something.
And Mark's like, oh, well, that's nice.
That's comforting.
Yeah, that's comforting. He's like, you got a fancy name for this one? Rodan.
The Demon of Fire.
Oh, that's comforting. I love how serious he is at the same time, like taking all this seriously and yet still, I'm trying to think of character tropes to describe him as, but
genre savvy. I don't know. Whatever.
But their goal with the orca, the bad guys,
snarker.
The orca to wake up all the monsters, as I said, so they could wipe away humanity, create new life, save the planet.
They didn't want to destroy all human life originally. They just wanted to have the Titans kind of fix the mess we created, and unfortunately there may be some casualties. When as soon as Ghidorah basically started, making its call to all the other Titans, they're like, we didn't plan this. We're gonna wake them up one at a time.
And the terrorist doesn't really care.
Yeah,
he's evil. He's like,
well, he's basically like, well, this wasn't what we planned, but oh well.
I love some of his dialogue because he's not a dumb bad guy. He's like, because he realizes that Emma. He's like, what did your mother tell you? What did she tell you that we're doing? Like he's not a dumb bad guy. He doesn't have like a massive evil plan. He's just a guy that sets things in motion, kind of. And there's also there's little bits of humor throughout, but it's like they're not like jokes.
Essentially, his motivation is somewhat similar to Thanos. You could say he just wants to restore balance, but. He realized, oh, well, this is a bit more than I intended. Oh, well.
Yeah. I'm not going to stop it.
Not that I even can.
No. But then they go, I think they went to Mexico, which is where they end up getting Ghidorah to fly to them, basically, because Ghidorah has created a giant storm around itself.
Yeah, and they called it a tropical hurricane, but
it's much more dangerous than that. But
and this is another thing that I really like about these monsters. They're elemental.
Yeah,
each one has its own elemental power. Rodan obviously is fire. Ghidorah, of all things, is lightning. Actually, it breathes lightning. It thunderbolt comes out of its mouth.
Mouths.
Mouths, right? Yeah, because it's a Dynamix Hydreigon.
It's 3-headed, yes.
Yes, it's a Hail Hydra.
And
I get actually technically that's what all the monsters were doing, hailing Hydra.
and Godzilla is radiation based. It's atomic.
Nuclear, yeah.
It's atomic breath, and
Mothra is
more like
just bug. It's a bug type.
It's supposed to be like it heals Godzilla later. Like it's supposed to be like.
Actually, it didn't. Technically,
it sort of powered him up.
No. Actually, radiation powers them up.
Yeah, but it was kind of.
They
implied that Mothra did something to let Godzilla recover, because later in the final battle, Ghidorah beat it down to the point where it was almost knocked out. But Mothra did something that basically almost supercharged Godzilla. We'll talk about that in a bit.
No, that's not. Mothra didn't supercharge Godzilla. Mothra was helping Godzilla and trying to protect Godzilla, but Mothra didn't heal Godzilla. That's not part of her powers. Her powers are basically things like Stun Spore and String Shot. That's her powers. It was true. She's basically just a giant Butterfree.
But Godzilla and Ghidorah end up fighting again in the water, and the government's like, oh, the soldier comes on. He's like, oh, we have this experimental oxygen bomb.
Yeah.
That we're going to fire at them, and we'll destroy everything in a 2-mile radius.
That it will kill all life within a 2-mile radius.
And it's like, oh, I guess you really think this is going to work? Like, it's a common trope that they think.
Yeah.
But they fire it, and it ends up killing Godzilla. It forced him basically to go into hibernation to regenerate over the next potential 100 years or so.
Yeah. But it
did nothing to Ghidorah.
To Dynamix Hydreigon.
But Godzilla ended up biting off one of its heads, which fell into the ocean and showed up somewhere later that we'll talk about later.
Yeah, but yeah.
And it's also shown that Ghidorah, just like the Hydra that Hercules fought, has the ability to regenerate its heads. Very, very graphically, with its like.
Yeah, like little tentacles started coming out
and
first.
Like its head was covered in slime that one of the other heads had to bite off. It's like they're
what
very.
What I also like is that the heads kind of nip at each other.
They have their own personalities. There.
It really is like a frickin' Pokemon. It's like part Hydreigon, part Dodrio.
So then there was the story of them finding Godzilla again because. There's nothing they could do to stop Ghidorah. Really, because he's basically controlling all the other monsters, like
and the weather.
Yeah. So they end up going through the tunnels to find Godzilla.
Yeah,
near a source of radiation recovering.
And they didn't outright say it, but they found Atlantis.
And
I was half expecting Aquabro to show up.
And the Japanese scientist had to set the nuclear warhead himself.
Because that's also a common trope where, the firing mechanism or the detonator doesn't work. Somebody has to do it manually.
So he sacrificed himself to supercharge Godzilla, reviving him way faster than he would have on his own.
And as they said later in the movie, too much.
Yes, where he's releasing so much radiation that in 12 minutes from the start of the battle, he's going to go off like an atom bomb. They literally called him an atom bomb.
Which he did not once, but I think 3 times.
Yeah.
He used explosion 3 times in a row.
So now the subplot is basically the daughter realizes how crazy her mother is.
Yeah.
So she takes the Oracle to Boston to summon the creatures there to calm
Orca,
everyone.
not Oracle.
Oracle.
Orca. It's called the Orca.
Oh. I guess I'm thinking of DC. Oracle.
Or, you know, the Matrix.
Yeah. But she takes the orca to calm down all the rest of the monsters so they can go back to their natural habitats, sort of.
Well,
Like, they'll stop destroying stuff.
yeah.
And they force Ghidorah and Godzilla to have another fight. Where it still goes bad for Godzilla. Like, he's supercharged, so he's dealing with it better. But he's still not able to win.
Yeah, he's not as quite a high a level as Dynamix Hydreigon.
And at the same time, Mothra had put herself in a cocoon to fully evolve.
Yes, because
I hate that I thought of that.
because we didn't mention after Dynamix Caterpie broke out of the containment, she cocooned herself inside in a waterfall as a Dynamix Metapod, and then later in the movie we see her evolve into Dynamix Butterfree.
Yes, and she fought Rodan,
a Dynamix Aerodactyl.
She ends up supposedly almost killing Rodan by stabbing him with her stinger through his shoulder, basically part of his wingspan near his shoulder.
Yeah, but
so Godzilla keeps getting his ass kicked by Ghidorah. I love every time the human characters show up, they're almost immediately electrocuted. Like the soldiers land, boom, they're electrocuted. Like it really created a good idea that like the sense of direct, like it was literally terrifying at times. Like you didn't know if one of the characters was gonna die or
yeah.
Like it,
but again, 99.9% of the deaths were red shirts.
Yes, they were just soldiers. They're like it. I thought it created a really good atmosphere of like sure it's sci-fi, but it felt kind of more grounded and realistic. Like the things they talked about. Like nobody said dumb, stupid one-liners or like they sure talked about science, but not in a.
I mean, there was one kind of silly, dumb line. Where like when they find Godzilla resting in his regeneration underwater cave thing, Mark is like, "My God!" And then one of the nerdy guys is like, "Zilla."
Yeah, but that guy was trying too hard to make things funny. But like in that kind of situation, I can understand it because people cope with things like that differently. Some people create humor to try and cope.
Exactly, but yeah.
I can understand it. Like none of it fell.
But the way he said it, just like Zilla.
and another one he line, they were looking, and Mark's like, "You recording this?" Like, "I record everything, everything." I'm like, this is the only guy that has kind of semi-cheesy forced dialogue. Like all the rest of it.
Oh yeah, and there's another line earlier when they were entering the cave and they noticed the radiation levels were spiking, and he said, I don't want to spend too long in here. I do want to have kids someday without flippers."
Even though he looks kind of like
he's like his hair is all white,
but he's maybe 40s to 50s.
Some people, their hair, turns white younger than normal.
Yeah.
Or maybe he bleached it. Who knows?
Maybe, who knows? But now, even at Godzilla's superpower, he's not really able to put Ghidorah down.
It's not very effective.
And even Mothra is trying to help him, and it's not really working. But at that point, the nuclear radiation goes off, and he goes from blue to frickin' so hot, he literally melts buildings just by walking.
Yeah.
That is the whole scene of him walking and buildings just melt. Because he's oozing so much radiation.
There are a couple of things we do need to mention, but before that happened. One, Mothra had to sacrifice herself.
Yeah.
She basically, Ghidorah was about to strike the killing blow, but Mothra bought some time by, flying in the path of the lightning bolt breath.
Yeah.
And she got basically vaporized.
Yeah. But that gave enough Godzilla time to go red hot.
Oh, and then there was another sacrifice. The mother.
Oh yeah, the mother sacrificed herself to.
But with the orca, she took the orca in a jeep and drove away from Godzilla
to give him more time to recover.
Exactly.
And
as everyone else was taking off in a helicopter.
Yes, and this is where
get to the chopper.
That scene earlier where the daughter stayed with the mother. This is where it comes back because they do the same scene again, but this time she has to stay with her father.
Yeah.
They even recreated like the first scene of the movie is him basically at the end of Godzilla 2014 screaming for I think his son, was it?
Yeah.
In this time he's in a destroyed city just screaming for his daughter instead.
Oh yeah, because they go to look for her in the Boston Stadium
in Fenway Park.
Yeah, but she's not there.
Yeah.
And then
I like the line
and
the soldiers
they're looking for
because they're in the Jeep, and the soldier's like, if I had parents like you, I'd run away from home too. And
then you're like, home.
Like she went home because that's
their old family home.
Yes, which got annihilated.
And and
she survived by
in a bathtub. Because
I honestly thought for a second it was going to be a woman in refrigerators moment.
Not with a kid. Not with that kid. They wouldn't have done that.
No, but that's for a split second before she regained consciousness.
They would not have done that. That would have been.
I'm just saying that's what I was thinking. I don't care if they're not going to do that. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, don't. I was like in my head, like, don't do that. Don't have a woman in a refrigerator moment.
Well, it was a fake out, right?
Yes.
I get that she could have survived the falling debris by being inside the bathtub. That you're like, if you have nowhere else to go in, say, a tornado or an earthquake, a bathtub is considered a decent, place that might protect you. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Her hand was hanging. How was her wrist not crushed?
I don't know.
Under that big piece of concrete.
How did the piece of concrete not break?
Well, it was thick enough that, Yeah. And it probably had rebar in it.
But yeah.
But how was her wrist not crushed by that?
I don't know.
I get that she could have survived that, but her wrist should have been broken, and they didn't need to show the detail of it, but they should have had her, like, in a sling for the rest of the movie, or cradling it. Her wrist should have been broken.
But I think they only put her hand out there just to show them where she was. Because wasn't she cradled like this? When
but her hand was hanging out the tub like that. Why would she have... That should have broke her wrist.
Movie.
Whatever.
Movie. It's a movie. But yeah, so freaking Godzilla's blazing through the town, blasting out red hot energy at Ghidorah.
Yeah, basically used explosion 3 times in a row.
And is finally able to beat Ghidorah to the point where they disappear and it looks like they do the fake out where it looks like Ghidorah won.
Yeah, but
then it's Godzilla eating his head. It's just going. And then it's like the front of his mouth crackles with electricity as Ghidorah is gone. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, damn, and he's back to normal because the radiation wears off. And and then he goes back into hiding, and then basically
no, he didn't go back into hiding.
Oh, the monsters, all of them appeared in front of him, and he like.
And even Rodan, who still has that hole in his,
was like, okay. It's like you beat Ghidorah. Oh shit! I better submit.
And I was half expecting Godzilla to nuclear breath Rodan in the face for mortally wounding his implied to be wife.
Yeah. One of the soldiers like, Godzilla and Mothra have been hooking up for centuries.
That's weird.
And the other guy's like.
Well, like symbiotic relationships. Different species working together for a mutual, but let's just face it, they're
banging.
Thing.
Yes.
I mean, some Pokemon do that, so, I mean, they're just doing it in Dynamix form.
And then the movie ends with, I don't even remember what it ends with before the credits. Like, them... No, it's just Godzilla with the monsters, like, the humans fly away and it ends with...
And then the credits are...
Oh, with Godzilla breathing atomic radiation into the air like on the poster.
No, that happened earlier in the movie.
Yeah, that happened earlier.
He didn't breathe...
he just roared, I think.
Yeah,
roared.
Like a T-Rex.
Yeah. And then they showed the credits, which is all... Basically, everything is recreated, there's now life everywhere.
Yeah, and mixed in with like, shots of, like... ancient, cave paintings and art of the Titans, or Dynamix Pokemon, and then the last one
was a certain gorilla versus a dinosaur, hinting at
sequel bait.
Yes, and also they did have an end credit scene.
Yes,
which was also sequel bait of the terrorist. We didn't actually see what he did after Emma left. They didn't cut back. They
just sort of stayed inside their bunker and waited it out.
But the thing is, the head that Godzilla bit off
earlier in the movie in the ocean, it washed up on an island.
We don't know exactly what happened. We can make up our own assessments, but somebody found it and they sold it to the terrorist.
Yeah, it was already rotting. It was like flies are around. So I can only assume he's gonna, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom the shit out of that thing. And
we'll have Ghidorah. We'll have another Ghidorah in a potential sequel.
I'm gonna call it Indominus Rex. Indominus Ghidorah Rex.
Here's what I'm gonna say for the pitch for Godzilla vs. King Kong. Neither of them are gonna win. They're gonna team up and end up having to fight Ghidorah again.
So basically, Batman versus Superman when Doomsday shows up.
I'm saying they're gonna do that. I kind of hope they do something better than that, but
Martha.
Yeah.
Why did you say that name?
But yeah, overall,
I should make a meme out of that. I should have
How isn't it not already a meme?
No. That is already a meme. No, I mean replace the faces of Superman and Batman with King Kong and Godzilla.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
No, except replace Martha with Mothra. Why did you say that name?
I'm trying to think. Do you have any really negative points about the movie? The little things like the pointless death.
Yeah, but it's a monster movie. That's part of the course for a monster movie.
We're not 100% sure if Emma actually died. Because we know it's not really possible that, theoretically, she probably didn't.
She would have been vaporized by all
the heat and the radiation, whichever got to her.
Basically,
first.
the same thing would have happened to her that happened to the Japanese guy who sacrificed himself to nuke Godzilla to power him up. Yeah, but
they didn't show it, so they're not they might bring her back to life. We don't know.
But if they do, it would have to be in a very Marvel way, where she's basically She-Hulk, because that much radiation. Only in superhero movies do people survive that, and usually they get superpowers.
Oh, and we didn't mention one thing: the Orca. They were trying to figure out the whole time what the signals Emma used.
Yeah, the mixture, but
because it was obvious they said throughout it they mixed different signals to get the attention of the Titans.
And then Mark found out it was human.
Because the signals were aggravating them. They used a different apex predator, because that's what basically we are in the natural order of things, to aggravate all the Titans, to wake them up, to get them to attack. But Ghidorah basically had the same power to rile up, just much stronger than the Orca's power.
But the Orca got the attention of Ghidorah too.
Yeah, it woke Ghidorah up.
And not only that, when Maddie used the Orca again in that Boston Stadium, whatever its name, basically Ghidorah went straight forward to destroy it.
Maybe it posed a threat to it. I don't know.
Or maybe it just found it incredibly irritating.
Like in Rampage.
Oh yeah, I forgot they had a signal in that.
But
and it also had a giant ape and giant Dynamix Pokemon. That would be an interesting crossover.
Overall, any other thoughts?
Pokemon, Dynamix, Pokemon Sword and Shield.
This has basically done the monster movie the best I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like it lags anywhere. It feels smooth. It feels like the characters have an impact. The only stupid line I thought was when Mark said, "We're gonna join the fight." Like, in my head, like, they've been doing that the whole time. They didn't do anything different. It's just that line was like, really?
I mean, I thought it worked because the context of it was that in the past it was just Godzilla versus Ghidorah, and
Okay.
humans weren't even around yet.
But throughout the whole movie, they've been fighting with they've been fighting the monsters.
Yes, but this time, it's that they were always fighting against the monsters to protect themselves. This time, they're joining the fight to help the monsters beat Ghidorah.
Yeah.
So I thought it worked, that line.
Other than that, it's just I'm having a hard time coming up with actual criticisms. Like, all the things I can think of are just nitpicks, really.
Yeah, I mean, I would have had an issue with the Hollow Earth thing, except it wasn't like in the Phantom Menace with through the planet core. It wasn't really like that. It was just, it wasn't the core of the Earth. It was just deep into the crust.
Yeah, it was just the word he used because he couldn't describe.
It wasn't actually outright saying the Earth is hollow, just that there's a system of deep tunnels
yes.
deep in the crust, very close to the mantle. Which explains why there was lava kind of dripping down in Godzilla's chamber.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think it's a good monster movie. Good. Like, it's worth watching. Like, I'm trying hard. I recommend, if you enjoy these kinds of movies, there's nothing really you're gonna get mad at. Like, sure, you could complain about the science, but it's science fiction. It doesn't really matter. You could replace it with any science you want. It doesn't really matter.
I mean, Marvel, Pokemon.
Yeah.
If we can buy those.
Star Wars, Star Trek. If you can buy anything, it's like there's nothing.
As long as it's entertaining.
Yeah, there's nothing egregiously wrong with what they're doing. Like the things they say. It's just they're.
Some people may get annoyed with, oh, we're doing the humanity as a virus trope again. Some people do get annoyed with that because they're sick of hearing it.
In ways we are.
That's why it keeps being a trope, because
we are destroying the planet. We are, these things we're doing do destroy the planet. Basically, with the mass amounts of the population, the pollution.
Yeah, the climate change, all that. It is true, you know.
Like, we have an effect on the Earth, and it's.
I mean, I can understand people getting sick of people who say, oh, humanity is a virus, because we're not. We're just kind of irresponsible.
But it's what she believed to make it okay with what she was doing.
It was certainly a lot better than, say, a little cloned girl releasing a bunch of dinosaurs into the world because they're alive, like me.
Yeah.
Although really, you know, Jeff Goldblum's line, we're in Jurassic World now. Those dinosaurs were not titans. They're not, you know, unstoppable. A few bazookas and you can take one down.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, I've been ace, keep one up your sleeve. Bye.
Enough of your rambling.
Enough of you.